Hi, I'm Matt.
I'm Craig.
And welcome to Dice Smash TV.
Hello and welcome back to Dice Smash TV. Sorry we've been off your screens for a little while due to scheduling issues around holidays, work and some tournaments. We've not been able to get together to do any filming. There have been some exciting things happening in the meantime though. We've signed 2 new members to Dice Smash TV who will be announced soon. Excited to add them to the channel, Craig?
Yeah, very exciting players. Some exciting armies coming through there as well, so you'll love to see it.
And I think one of the other things we want to talk about is we have had our first Dice Smash TV event. So we held a little Blood Bowl tournament with our friends over at Hal Brewery, just outside St. Austell. It was a good day of beer, pizza and Blood Bowl and lots of laughs.
And pizza and beer.
And pizza and beer.
And pizza and beer.
It was, There was lots of pizza and lots of beer and a small amount of Blood Bowl.
And lots of blood.
Yeah,
lots of blood.
It was a good day.
Yeah.
But we're back now. Slightly different today in that we're only playing a 1,000-point game. Craig's kindly letting me use my new Ossiarch Bonereapers army, but I've not quite got 2k painted yet. So a nice smaller game today.
This is the first use of your new book then, isn't it? So
it is indeed, yeah. So some small differences, and it's worth saying that this is post FAQ, so the Harvester has been well and truly hit in the crotch goblin. So, we'll have a look at the armies now, and we'll get playing.
today we'll be playing Battle Plan 3 from General's Handbook 2223, and that is the Jaws of Galette. In Gur, the land itself is possessed of a hungry animus. This is particularly evident in Galette, where sinkholes open up with perilous frequency, swallowing in moments assets that had been acquired at a steep cost in blood. At the start of each battle round after the first, after priority has been determined, the player taking the second turn in that battle round can pick one objective on the battlefield to be swallowed by the caverns below. If they do so, that objective is removed from play. And victory points are scored as follows. Score 1 victory point if you control at least one objective. Score 1 victory point if you control 2 or more. Score 1 victory point if you control more than your opponent. Score 2 victory points if you've completed the battle tactic that turn. And score 3 points for getting your grand strategy.
So, as I mentioned a moment ago, I am going to be bringing the Ossiarch Bonereapers today, and I'm going to be bringing the Crematorians again, because who doesn't love exploding skeletons? I know the internet's gone mad for them recently, but I was using the exploding skeletons in the last session. In fact, I think one of the first games Craig and I ever played was against my previous OBR army, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was, I think, my first game with Soulblight as well, and I remember charging into some of the Mortek Guard with my zombies, which was that was an experience. So
it was just they exploded, got rebuilt, killed some more,
wiped out my squad, wiped out my squad, and then came back. So
it was beautiful. But unfortunately, due to the recent FAQ, the Goths Harvester now can only support 1 unit, and I do only have one of them on the list, but we'll get to that in a minute. So my whole army actually fits into the Ossiarch cohort core battalion, so it will be a 1-drop. It's very, very similar to sort of the 1-drop core battalion anyway, but I've got to keep my stuff a little bit closer together, but it does allow me to get everything in there. So my general is a Mortisan Soulmason. He's got the command trait Diversionary Tactics, so it'll be a sort of reduction on your charges. And I've got the Load of Saturation as well for that sort of ability to stay on the battlefield a little bit longer, and then the spell Mortal Contract. So if I can get that off onto you, essentially you'll take mortal wounds every time you hurt me. How do you feel about that?
I just heard mortal wounds then, and I was like, "Wow, we know what's coming. We know what's coming."
Then I've got the Mortal Zambone Shaper with the spell Empower Netherite Weapons, but he's got the aspect of the Champion Tunnel Master as well, because we are still in that season.
Yep.
And I've got 2 units of 10 Mortek Guards with Blades. I've got a Mortek Crawler and a Gothazar Harvester, backed up by the beautiful Bone Tithe Nexus. That
Nice.
I always said after I painted that piece of terrain the first time, I'm never painting it again. And
But it's done. It's looking awesome.
It's done. I think it actually looks better than I did it the first time around. There's still a few bits I want to pick out on it, but it's definitely usable now. So we'll see if it does anything today. I think one of my biggest things is forgetting to use it every turn. So if I use it once today, that will be a big win.
You say I don't think I've, going on to my list in a minute, I don't think I've ever used my terrain piece for summoning once, but it's there every time, so
My grand strategy today is the scales balanced, so I just need to make sure one of those units of Mortek Guard is still sat at 10 at the end of the game. It brings me to a crisp 990 points, so 10 under. So if I do get a triumph, I'll go for Inspired. Yeah,
Lovely. And I will be using the Hedonites of Slaanesh under the Godseekers sub-faction, which at the start of each battle round lets me move D3 units D6 inches, as long as I'm more than 3 inches away from an enemy unit. And they also can re-roll the charge rolls for friendly units wholly within 12 inches of a Godseeker's hero. So for my general, I picked the Contorted Epitome, and the spell is the Paths of the Dark Prince, which lets me roll a 3d6 for a charge instead of 2d6. I have the artifact, the Threnody Voice Box.
Say that again, Craig.
The Threnody Voice Box. Once per battle, at the start of the combat phase, you can say the bearer will play their melody. Ooh. If you do so until the end of that phase, subtract 1 from the attack's characteristics of melee weapons. Enemy units within 6, sorry, not wholly within. So I'm just going to play on my flute. The command trait is Speed Chaser. So after the general makes a charge move, you can pick one enemy unit within 1 inch, roll a number of dice equal to the charge roll. For every 4 up, they suffer a mortal wound. So I think that's going to go quite nicely with my 3d6 charge spell. So that's my tactic there. I also have a Lord of Pain with Tunnel Master, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do when Tunnel Master disappears, because you just get so used to that sort of, I'm just going to teleport that random mortal. So they're my 2 galley chumps, and then we also have battle line 1 unit of Blissbarb Archers and a unit of Demonettes, and then we have a unit of Blissbarb Seekers and a unit of Painbringers, and they're all under the battle regiment for 1 drop. Comes in at 945 points, so I'm way under. And before I forget, my grand strategy is Arch Tempter, so offer the same unit a temptation dice 6 times. So I think, considering these guys keep coming back, I think I've got a good chance of something staying alive long enough to get my 6 offers in. And my Triumph is Inspired, so which I will be getting. So I think we go into deployment and roll off. Let's go. Done. So I won the roll off for deployment. So I put my entire army down first. So looking at it, everything's pushed up as far as it can be. I've got to remember I usually use the Pretender sub-faction, which gives you the free command points. So I'm so used to everything having an auto run for free. I've got to try and remember I haven't got that anymore. So I actually need to roll some dice now. So everything's just pushed up as far as it can be. Looking to grab 3 of the objectives, because my worry is as soon as he sits anything on an objective, I'm not easily going to be able to shift it. So fairly simple for me. It's just get up there as quickly as I can. And then on to Matt. What have you done?
Yeah, so first of all, it was a bit strange not having many models on the table. I know recently we've been playing a lot of 2K, so trying to sort of prepare to zone out the board of 1K is very, very different. I think the fact I've taken some really high points models hasn't helped. So I'm just ready to sort of forge my way out into the middle of the board. Just need to remember this is that scenario where the objectives will start disappearing quite quickly.
Yep.
So I need to maybe make sure I don't overcommit into either of the flanks quite yet. So yeah, excited to see what happens here. You're going to go for first or second turn then, Craig?
I think I'll go first for the reason, as I said, as soon as you get on an objective, I don't think you're going to be easy to shift off of it. So I want to try and get the points early and go first.
Fantastic. All right, we'll crack on with the first turn and we'll be back shortly.
Let's go. So Slaanesh hero phase, I did nothing. I cast Mystic Shield onto the Demonettes from the Epitome, and then also cast an Arcane Bolt to hold on to with the Epitome as well, and that is it.
That's not true. You did stare over a dismay at the large amount of command points I have.
Oh yeah, there's six command points. It's like, I'm a bit jealous. I say it's normally that's me, but with the Godseekers now, I don't get that.
I'm using a pink dice as well, which probably doesn't help.
No, that is tempting me a little bit. So yeah, and that's my hero phase. So we're going to movement. Movement's done. So we started off, we ran the Demonettes up towards the centre objective. And then we also moved the Epitome onto the centre objective, getting me the the cunning maneuver battle tactic. We pretty much ran everything else up. Archers moved up, and the Painbringer and the Lord of Pain, and the Blissbarb Seekers ran up to the my far left objective as I'm looking at it, and that's it for movement. So we go into a quick shooting phase. A good start for my shooting phase. So we only had the front 3 Blissbarb Seekers in range to shoot. So I spent a command point to go all out attack. Matt went all out defense with the Mortek Guard, and 2 wounds got through, and I did offer a dice, which he accepted, get me 5 depravity points. And I did offer him, because I offered him a dice, that's I'm well on the way now to getting my 6 dice offered to a unit. So I'm sure it will come back in a minute, but that will help me for my grand strategy. So charge phase, I don't think I'm going to do anything. There's nothing I can achieve. So I think that's the end of my turn. I'll just go straight to the end. So
scoring, yeah.
Let's have a look. So we get 1 objective, 2 objective and more. And we got the battle tactic kind of maneuver. So that's 5 points. 5 points, and then on to the OBR turn 1.
Yeah, let's have a think. So I had a bit of a think, and I thought the most logical battle tactic to go for my turn was going to be desecrate their lands, as there was a piece of terrain that was just towing into Craig's deployment, so I'm going to try and take that with some Mortek. The Bone Tithe Nexus, whilst I remember to do something with it, was actually out of range to do anything, so hopefully I'll remember again next turn. On to the spell casting. So the Soul Mason casts Mystic Shield onto a unit of Mortek Guard, and then failed to cast Arcane Bolt. Then the delightful Bone Shaper did manage to cast Empower Netherite Weapons, and also brought back the Mortek Guard that was collapsed in a heap. The Soul Mason then rolled for his magical chair ability. Managed to cast Soul Guard an additional D3 times, rolled a 6, so it was 3 times, but I've only got 2 units of Mortek Guard, so it does mean that both units of Mortek now have +1 to wound.
Nice. Luckily, they're not the quickest unit, so...
Well, you say that, I can give them +3 movement in a minute each, so...
then now rapid.
So yeah, we'll get on with the movement phase and be back in a second. So, interesting movement phase, I think... Craig's been caught off guard by quite how quick they can be.
Yep.
Relentless advance was relentless.
Yeah, sure. And I was hoping for a slightly better redeploy on the objective there with the Blissbarb Seekers. I rolled a 2, so you need a 5-inch charge there.
5-inch charge of it, so it's definitely possible.
Yeah.
So the Mortek Guards on the flank, Relentless advanced up and stood next to that piece of terrain, which is exactly where I need them to be.
So that's battle tactic done.
As long as I don't horrendously die in the moment. The Mortek Guard in the middle of the board have also advanced up onto the centre objective. Mm-hmm. The Mortek Crawler turned slightly, so it could tow onto that one there, and the Gothazar that have moved up behind. You might notice in some of the photos that we've got some lovely acrylic markers all over the table there from our friend Matt at Pro Painted Studios. I will put a link in the show notes, because if you're looking for any markers to help you remember things during Age of Sigmar, they are the best by far.
Yeah, there's a huge range as well, isn't there? You've got pretty much every army and every ability.
And in all fairness, he's very, very good at having them ready for release for the new faction. So so definitely check those out. So we're going to move on to the shooting phase now. It's time to start pewing things. So that was not a great shooting phase. So the Mortek Crawler had 4 shots at the Painbringers, missed with 2. I did take the Temptation dice, I hit with 3, then rolled triple 1s to wound.
Oh no, that one you rejected, didn't you? You took 2
more. Oh, sorry, yes.
So
no, I did. I rejected that one.
Yep.
I only missed with 1. It was the Gothsar Harvester. I accepted it.
That's the one.
But he did 3 wounds onto the Epitome. So he didn't do too badly.
No, I did go all out defence, still on a 5 up, but 3 went through. But I did offer him a dice, so that's off the mark with him as well. And I've got 5 more depravity points, taking me up to 10. So getting closer to that magic 12.
I think there are going to be demons all over the table in a minute.
Yes, definitely.
So we're going to move on to the charge phase now. So combat phase wasn't actually that eventful, despite having exploding fives. Just didn't get the damage out once. It caused 7 wounds.
7 wounds. That kills 1 and leaves 1 on 1 wound. But I did manage to offer another temptation, which you took.
I did.
Which get me 4 more points. So I'm up to 14 now. So that triggers the -1 to hit, which is good. I passed the battle shock for them as well.
Yeah. I was gonna say you killed 1 more take back, didn't you? Who
Yes.
didn't explode.
Yeah.
So it was disappointing.
Bit underwhelming, but you do get that objective.
I do. So if we're looking at scoring, then so I hold 1, hold 2, hold more, and get my battle tactic. So for a full 5 points.
Lovely. Okay.
So we'll roll for the turn, and we'll be back shortly.
Okay, so turn 2, Slaanesh first turn. What did we do? So you turned off one of my objectives, didn't you?
Turned off your back sort of objective that you were holding, so you're gonna have to get involved now.
I'm gonna have to get stuck in, so that's what we're gonna do. So my battle tactic, I've gone for excessive carnage, which is pick a unit and kill them using the Euphoric Killer's battle traits. So I've picked the unit of guards on the centre objective. So what I'm doing is buffing up my Epitome, the general, just to go all out for a big daft charge there. So the Epitome's gone finest hour for my heroic action. I think you roll for another command point and got one.
Yeah,
taking you up to
sat on 7.
7, so we're going to need more dice for his command points shortly. So spells we cast with the Epitome, we went with his spell Paths of the Dark Prince, which gives me a 3d6 charge, which is quite nice because I do mortal wounds on a 4-up equal to the charge roll soon, so that might help me get rid of them. And second spell I went for Overwhelming Acquiescence, which was Unbound. So into movement. So my movement phase, I don't know, it took me a while, and I think it was quite an important one. So I moved the Epitome to within 3 of those Mortek Guard on the centre. I was going to bring the Demonettes in as well to charge them, but then I thought, well, they do get, a run and a charge, +1 to both. So I had enough to get them up the field to that far objective where the Bliss Barbs are. So I'd rolled a 6 for that, so they got a 13-inch run, which was quite good. So they're within, I think, 4 or 5 inches of a charge. And I brought my Lord of Pain up, so they do get a reroll as well, which is good. And I've moved the Painbringers towards the centre as well, so they're hopefully going to get in on the Mortek Guard as well. Again, they get a reroll on the charge. So, slightly tactical movement here. Now we go into shooting, so let's see what happens. Shooting phase, and we started off with the Bliss Barb Seekers point blank into the Mortek Guard. So I got 2 wounds through there on those attacks. I did offer another dice, which he accepted, and I think I got 4 more points, which took me up to 20 depravity points, and that is 3 dice offered for that unit now. But the most important thing is they're -1 to their save. So following up then with the Bliss Barb Archers behind, I got a load more wounds through, killing how many in total? Was that 6 in total?
Yeah, so 6 died in total, and you took a few wounds back, didn't you?
Yeah. So 6 died in total, and with the explosions back, I think it's 3 wounds back, which killed another Bliss Barb Seeker and left 1 on 2 wounds left. So there are currently 3 left in that unit, or 4?
3 at the moment.
There are 3 left in that unit, but does make the charge quite a bit harder. So we'll go into the charge phase now and see what happens. Charge phase was successful, so the Painbringers were successful into the Mortek Guard in the centre, and then we went 3d6 charge with the Epitome. I think I rolled something like a 7 first, which was enough, but I did choose the faction reroll to try and get more, which I did. So I got a 12-inch charge there on a 3d6, which gave me 12 dice for mortal wound. So we got 7 through there, so we killed 7. They exploded then into the Painbringers, killing 1 and leaving...
6.
Oh, killed 6, sorry, not 7, my bad. Yeah, more than I'd hoped. And then Yeah, so they exploded into Painbringers and killed one, left one on a wound. The Demonettes successfully charged the 3 Mortek Guard on the corner objective over there as well, so that's good news. And that was it for the charge phase. So yeah, everything I wanted to get in did. We've done a bit of damage as well. So you did unleash hell on the Painbringers, didn't you?
Yeah,
but that
didn't do anything.
No, caused no wounds. But again, command points for you don't mean anything. So yeah, you may as well just give it a go. So we go into Slaanesh combat. Combat phase was sadness for Slaanesh. So yeah, the battle tactic was kill that unit of Mortek Guard using excessive euphoric killers battle trait. So we left one alive, which was annoying.
Especially considering what you did to Epitome.
Yeah. So every time they exploded, I had 2 up ward save against mortal wounds and failed them both. So took 2 mortal wounds there, and what was it? 1 attack back? Was it?
Yeah, it was a leader of 3 attacks back.
Yeah, so 3 attacks back from the commander, and then killed the Epitome. So that's my general gone. But yeah, leaving 1 alive was frustrating. And then the other combat, the Demonettes and the Bliss Barbs into those Mortek Guard. I don't think we didn't kill any, and you killed 6 Demonettes, and 6 Demonettes and 1 of the Bliss Barb Seekers, wasn't it?
I think the sort of the Salt and Wound, then was the Gothsar Harvester brought back 6 of those Mortek Guard.
And 6 Mortek Guard came back, so that's 7 back in that unit there, which you keep that objective now.
Yeah.
So end of my turn then, I failed my battle tactic by 1 wound.
Score 1 point.
And I score 1 point for 1 objective in the far corner. And the worrying thing is now it's your turn. So let's see what happens.
So big turn now, I think. So my battle tactic is gaining momentum. So I've chosen the Painbringers in the middle as the target for that.
There's 6 wounds left on that unit, so.
Well, there were 7 a second ago.
Oh yeah,
The Bone Tithe Nexus did punishment of death and caused a mortal wound, which finished 1 off. The Bone Shaper then successfully cast Empower Netherite Weapons on the unit over there. And then the Soul Mason cast Mortal Contract on the Lord of Pain. Is that his name?
Yes, Lord of Pain. So,
Lord of Pain. So yeah, mortal wounds for him when he starts getting stuck in.
He loves that pain.
And I stuck Mystic Shield onto the Mortek Guard as well. And then Soul Guide went off again, only once this time though, and I cast it on the Mortek Guard that were closest to me. So exciting times. So my movement phase was it was interesting. It was important though. So the Gothsar Harvesters moved around, getting ready to charge into the Painbringers. The Mortek Guard was on the same, and the Mortek Crawlers creeped up a little bit just so he's in range to start barfing skulls into the Lord of Pain potentially in a moment.
Yeah, there was a option to maybe redeploy the Painbringers, but with only 2 command points left, I'm thinking it's got to be an all-out defence and an inspiring presence at some point. So they're just going to have to soak up what's coming, I think.
Yeah, and the only other thing that happened was I used reknit constructs on the unit of Mortek Guard that weren't in combat to bring back 2 more. So they're just
1 wound away. Just 1 wound away.
1 wound away, and they're sort of they're back, sort of almost fully functional.
Yep.
One might say they're almost a fully functional Death Star.
They are a little bit.
But
just 1 left. I can't go over it. Just 1 left.
Who's tempted? Who's tempting who now? So Shooting Face was a bit more exciting this turn. The Mortek Crawler shot the Lord of Pain off the table. Just left the smeary remains of his mortal contract on the board.
6 wounds. I did even offer you a temptation dice, which you rejected. So you didn't even need that dirty seduction to get it done. So that was 6 wounds went through, didn't it?
Yeah.
So he's
just enough.
He's bone and paste on the board at the minute.
And then the Gothsar Harvester shot the Painbringers, caused another 2 wounds, so killed another one of those.
Yeah, I offered you another dice there as well.
Still said no.
You said no and took 2 mortal wounds.
Yeah.
So that's that. Shooting done.
So onto the charge phase. So charged in, and the Gothsar Harvester stomped on a Painbringer.
Yep, that killed one.
So that killed one.
Put
Yeah.
one straight away.
Then I decided to activate the Mortek Guard that were over with the Demonettes and the Seekers. They are Seekers, aren't they?
Blissbarb Seekers.
Blissbarb
yeah.
Seekers. So they killed the Demonettes thanks to those exploding fives,
Yep.
power and adderite weapons, and then they managed to, I think they caused one more wound on the Seekers. Craig then killed a Mortek Guard with his remaining Painbringer before he got absolutely torn to shreds.
Yeah, definitely into about 20 different bony pieces. We're just trying to chip some off of those Mortek Guards, with your grand strategy in mind.
Yeah.
Let's just try and keep the numbers down. So.
And then the Seekers killed another 3 Mortek Guard over in the corner.
Yeah. And then luckily didn't take any explosions back. So not quite enough to take the objective away from you yet.
No, because of my hero sat back there.
Yeah.
So scoring wise, then it'll be 1, 2, and more, and my battle tactic again.
Plus gaining momentum, so that's 5 points. So I'm a few behind here.
Well, roll priority for turn 3.
See what happens.
So I was having a flick through my battle tactics this turn. Actually, there aren't that many I can do at the moment, especially at this point. So I'm missing the amount of units to be able to do the Renet Constructs one. But one of the ones that I did see and made me chuckle was Remorseless Bombardment, which is to kill a unit with a Mortek Crawler. So I've picked the unit of Blissbarb Archers as the target, because that's doable.
With a lovely 6-up save, Stuffs and Squish.
So I'm hoping I can get that in. We'll give it a shot in a minute. I will be praying for the dice there, though. To help along the way with that, I cast Shardstorm with the Bone Shaper, who killed 4.
Yep, 4.
So it's a solid start. He also used his ability to bring back 3 Mortek Guards. And then we, over at the sort of the mid board, I cast Mystic Shield again, and then cast Soul Guide. So, and the Bone Type Nexus was once again out of range to do anything. But I think things are moving in the direction I want them to.
I think so.
I think the one thing is that sort of started this turn, Craig did turn off my sort of home objective, for want of a better phrase.
Yeah.
So having to have a good think here.
Want to move some stuff, but
But yes, we'll move on to movement phase. So movement phase. This one, this was a sneaky one. So the Gothsar Harvester moved out using Relentless Advance to get a bit closer to those Seekers over there that have been irritating me. The Mortek Guard retreated, and the other units sort of stayed where they were, and the Mortek Crawlers moved forward slightly. And then I used Renet Constructs to bring back some more Mortek Guard.
So it wasn't retreat out of fear?
No, it wasn't a retreat, it was a tactical withdrawal. And then the Bone Shapers tunnel mastered over and shut down Craig's terrain piece, so he can't do any dirty summoning because his heroes are dead as well.
Yes, I think. Yeah, that's the one hope I had left was summoning. So I think as long as that hero stays there, that's probably my game nearly done. Depends on how this combat goes in a minute. And depends on how the shooting goes. Let's not forget the shooting. But
Yeah,
let's see what happens next.
time for some fun. So, despite all my best efforts, and the Gothsar Harvester actually doing a good job and sort of whittling them down, I've done what is effectively now known as a Craig, and I've left one model left.
Just left one archer alive.
One archer. So now even if it fled due to battle shock or anything like that, won't matter for my battle tactic because it had to be the Mortek Crawler that did the job.
Yep.
So no battle tactic for me. So I just need to make sure I kill everything now.
Let's go. So it's charge phase?
On to the charge phase.
See what happens.
So I charged in with the Gothsar. Craig did unleash hell with the Blissbarb, but missed. No, sorry, I saved it. He didn't miss. Yeah. How dare me accuse a Slaanesh the Archer of missing?
I'd never miss, not with that. I don't want to say that.
And then, the Gothsar Harvester just made a mess of what was left. I think people often, they think he's just there to pick up bits and build stuff, but he does hit like a tank.
But when you look at him, he does look like a tank.
He does look like when you look at him, he has got swords for arms. He's I'm not going to do my meek impression for fear of offending someone, but he has got knives for hands.
Yes.
But yeah, so end of this turn, I didn't get my battle tactic, but I do hold 1, hold 2, and hold more for 3 points. So let's see. Oh, Craig, Battle Shock.
Oh.
Oh, let's do this live.
Well, oh wow. Well, I spent my last command point.
You lost 10.
So I've lost 10, and their bravery 6. So I won. So
Go on.
yeah, 16 run away. So I think that is the last one. So that's my last model off the board.
So that's Craig currently tabled.
Yes, at the end of your turn 3.
So as long as I don't move away from that,
Yeah.
then there'll be no more Slaanesh on the board.
I assume you're going to stay there for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Otherwise, a nice, I
Yeah.
was trying to think of Keeper of Secrets. But I'm currently 3 points away from a Keeper of Secrets, and with no way of getting any more points.
Yeah. So I think
that's it.
yeah, we'll have a quick conversation, then we'll come back. So final score on the board was Ossiarch Bonereapers 21.
And Slaanesh 6.
So we spoke out the rest of the turns, sort of worst case scenario. There was no way I was ever moving off that famous Slaanesh, because it was basically I didn't want to keep a secrets to come and eat my face.
No, that's it. I mean, the only thing I could have maybe brought on is maybe another Contorted Epitome. I didn't have enough points for a Keeper of Secrets.
Oh, okay.
I was 3 points away, frustratingly. Otherwise, I mean, I would have kept on going. Could I get a Keeper on? I would have happily carried on. But, I mean, even with an Epitome, I would have sort of tried, because then, with enough points, I could summon more out of that, so I could slowly grow into turn maybe 3 and 4. But no, he shut that down, so that was my scoring ability completely out the window.
By the end of the turn 5, when we'd spoken it through, I'd fully built up both units of Mortec Guard again, so I was I got my grand strategy.
I didn't get mine, because I think the most I'd offered was 4 on the Mortec Guard over there, and yeah, that's it. So 4 in total. So I didn't get my offer it to 6. One thing I should say as well, I did forget for the first 2 turns. Sorry, for my only 2 turns, to do my pre-turn movement with the sub-faction ability with the move D3 units D6 inches. I completely forgot. So I don't think it would have made a difference anyway, the movement, but this is all part of playing a new army and a new sub-faction. It's all part of the learning. So.
You'll be back to Pretenders before long.
I'm already making another Pretenders list. I think I missed those command points. I missed the unlimited all-out attacks and Unleash Hells, and it's so strong. Whereas I think the movement's nice with this and the re-rolling charges, but it doesn't pack a punch like Pretenders.
So I think a good game though. Enjoyed it. It was interesting playing 1K. Again, I think both of us were struggling with board presence.
Yeah, definitely.
But we're now well and truly in sort of practice season, because we've got a few tournaments coming up, and we've got one locally at Mad for Miniatures in St Austell.
So that's the next one, and I think after that we're in Listgard
for tabletop skirmish games.
Tabletop skirmish, yep. So that'll be a good one. That'll be a tough one.
Yeah.
And then we have the big one in September,
the London Grand Tournament.
Yeah, so we're fully into sort of practice mode for that. So
yeah, we're looking, if anyone's watching this and wants to come down to Cornwall and have some games, please do drop us a message, because we'd be keen. And yeah, we're hoping to get some more battle reports filmed very, very soon. Hopefully with our 2 new Dice Smash TV members, which we'll be unveiling shortly.
Very exciting, very good players.
So, but for now though, thank you for watching, and we'll see you all soon.
Thank you very much.